contradiction is afoot. Jeremiah 6:20. The Creator said, I never asked your fathers for burnt offerings, blood sacrifice. Don't seems right to me. That's what you think. So what's the contradiction of that? Exodus 29:10 through 14. Then you shall bring the bull before the tent of meetings, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the bull. You shall slaughter the bull before the Lord at the doorway of the tent of meetings. You shall take some of his blood of the bull and put it on the horns of the altar with your fingers, and you shall pour out the blood at the base of the altar. Sounds like a blood sacrifice to me. Hebrews 13:11 and through 13. For the bodies of those animals whose blood is brought to the holy place by the high priest as an offering for sin are burned outside the camp. Therefore Jesus also, that he might sanctify the people through his own blood, suffering outside the gates. So let us go out to him outside the camp and bearing his reproach. Leviticus 9:3 and 4. Then to the sons of Israel you shall speak, saying, take a male goat for a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both 1 year old, without defect, for burnt offerings, and an ox and a ram for peace offerings, to sacrifice before the Lord, the grain offering mixed with oil. For today the Lord will appear to you. How about this one for Leviticus 19:20? If a man sleeps with a female slave who is promised to another man, but who has not been ransomed or given her freedom, there must be punishment due. Yet they are not to be put to death, because she has not been freed. The man, however, must bring a ram to the entrance of the tent of meetings for a guilt offering to the Lord. With the ram of the guilt offering, the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord for the sin he has committed, and his sin will be forgiven. Yeah, took advantage of a woman. Let's kill a ram. Leviticus 17. The Lord said to Moses, speak to Aaron and his son and to all the Israelites and say to them, this is what the Lord has commanded. Any Israelite who sacrificed an ox, a lamb, or a goat in the camp or outside of it, instead of bringing it to the entrance of the tent of meetings to present it as an offering to the Lord in front of the tabernacle of the Lord, that person shall be considered guilty of bloodshed. They have shed the blood and must be cut off from the people. This is so, make sure you understand, this is so the Israelites will bring to the Lord the sacrifice that they are making in the open field. They must bring them to the priest, so that the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meetings, and sacrifice them as a fellowship offering. The priest is to splash the blood against the altar of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meetings, and burn the fat as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Although there are many of these throughout the Bible, let's get to just one biggin, the burnt offering. Leviticus 1. The Lord called to Moses and spoke to him in the tent of meeting, he said, speak to the Israelites and say to them, when anyone among you brings an offering to the Lord, bring as your offering an animal from either the herd or the flocks. If the offering is a burnt offering from the herd, you are to offer a male without defect. You must present it at the entrance of the tent of meeting, so that it will be acceptable to the Lord. You are to lay your hands on the head of the burnt offering, and it will be accepted on your behalf to make atonement for you. You are to slaughter the young bull before the Lord, and then Aaron's son, the priest, shall bring the blood and splash it against the side of the altar at the entrance of the tent of meetings. You are to skin the burnt offering and cut it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priest, are to put the fire on the altar and arrange wood on the fire. Then Aaron's son and the priest shall arrange the pieces, including the head and the fat, on the wood that is burning on the altar. You are to wash the internal organs and the legs with water, and the priest is to burn all of it on the altar. It is a burnt offering, a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. If the offering is a burnt offering from the flock, from either the sheep or the goats, you are to offer a male without defects. You are to slaughter it at the north side of the altar before the Lord, and Aaron's son, the priest, shall splash his blood against the altar. You are to cut it into pieces, and the priest shall arrange it, including the head and the fat, on the wood that is burning on the altar. You are to wash the internal organs and the legs with water, and the priest is to bring them and burn them on the altar. It is a burnt offering, and a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. If the offering to the Lord is a burnt offering of birds, You are to offer a dove or a young pigeon. The priest shall bring it to the altar, wring off his head, and burn it on the altar. Its blood shall be drained out on the side of the altar. He is to remove the crop and the feathers and throw them down east of the altar where the ashes are. He shall tear it open by the wings, not dividing it completely, and then the priest shall burn it on the wood that is burning on the altar. It is a burnt offering, a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. So, as you see, there are many occasions, if you go through Leviticus and go through Exodus, you will find that this deity is requiring of blood sacrifices. And if you understand of animal sacrifices, so then that would make Jeremiah 6:20 a contradiction to a whole lot of parts of your Bible. Hell, ask the question. When Adam and Eve sinned and then this God found them in the garden, they had fig leaves on them, then he clothed them with animal skins. Where did the animal skins come from? He liked Abel's offering more than he liked Cain. Abel offered him some burnt, pleasing aroma. So thank you for acknowledging that your Bible is filled with contradictions.